Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, testing. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. I wish to Tun. Okay, my name is Hasmadi bin Hasbi, taking in civil engineering, right now in second year, first semester. Okay, I just want to get your comments and point of view about the level of our unity, level of our integration among Malay community. And I want to get your permission to use UMNO as we look as a medium for Malay community to strive their rights. Okay, and if we take a look at the history of UMNO itself, in 1986 there was a sub-party of UMNO, namely Semangat 46, led by Tengku Razalik, because originally Tengku Razalik is UMNO's member, and then in 1996 the Semangat 46 has been dispersed and joined UMNO back. And then 3 years later, the scenario repeated, whereby PKR was formed. And besides, since 50 years ago, there is one more party, namely PAS, represent Malay community. So we can see there are several number of parties that can be considered as represent Malay community. And of course, there should be different in their own ideology. So my question is, do you think that diversity in ideologies and several numbers of parties will affect and reflects to our unity and integration, especially among Malay community? And or is just a political matter, or just the nature of country that practicing democracy? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think this is a matter that is exercising the minds of many Malays. They see themselves today very much divided. Whereas at one time there was only UMNO, no PAS even. That was the time when we were struggling against the Malay Union. There was no PAS. But because we were totally united under UMNO, it was possible for the Malays to force the British to give up the Malayan Union. Unfortunately, after we won against the Malayan Union, people realized that if you become a member of parliament or member of state council, you get titles like Yang Berhormat, and you get allowances, and you get cars and all that. So some people decided to leave UMNO and break off to form PAS, ostensibly because they are religious and they claim to be fighting for religion. Subsequently, people realized that if you become prime minister or you become a minister, you wield a lot of authority and power, and you can make money. At least you can earn much more than what you have been earning before. So there was a struggle to take over UMNO, for example. That was what happened in 1987 when Tunku Razali and Musa Hitam decided to contest to become president and deputy president. Unfortunately, they lost, or fortunately, they lost. And as a result, they started Semangat 46 because they couldn't become the president of UMNO or deputy president of UMNO, so they can become the president of Semangat 46. But they soon realized that they cannot win elections by staying away from UMNO and joining up with the opposition. And because of that, they eventually came back and there was unity once more. Unfortunately, in 1998, we have a problem with the deputy prime minister. He was accused of sodomy and things like that. and he was expelled from the party. His reaction was to try and take away some of the Malays in UMNO in order to back him up, to make it a political issue rather than a legal issue. And so the Malays became divided again into Parti Keadilan. And there is less unity now because the struggle is not because of the desire to help the Malays catch up with the other races, to develop this country, to become a developed country as is the objective of Vision 2020. The struggle is about getting positions in the government, about becoming prime minister, about becoming ministers, about having power. And in some cases, they feel that if they have this position, they can make money for themselves. So because of this greed, we see the Malays are being split up. They don't know which direction they are going to take, and they feel disappointed, perhaps with poor leadership, and today they have lost their sense of direction. That is why you see them divided into various groups. The question is, as you say, whether this diversity is good or not. Now, there is already the division between the different races. And if you add this division between within the race, then of course the Malays who are already weak, surely in economic terms they are very weak, even in terms of education and positions in life, they are weak. Then if they are divided, they must become weaker still. And if they become weak, they cannot, they cannot do things in order to elevate the Malays to the same level as the non-Malays. So I would say that diversity may sound good, but it is really not good for the Malays. But there should be some opposition. I believe that we should have UMNO and PAS. Let PAS criticize UMNO, let UMNO criticize PAS. But if you have so many criticisms, some of which are